Hey, everybody, welcome to SexyNerdScience Season 5, Episode 13, my lucky number.
Oh, Drew's lucky number 13.
Let's see how many glasses shatter on this podcast.
That explains your life right there.
All of his windows are broken. It's
I'm
supposed
here.
to hail today.
I'm here with Josh and Dale, as always. So we're going to just jump right into this lucky podcast here.
Hello there.
Say hi, Dale, since Josh did too.
Greetings.
There you go. We got some sexy news for you. Starting off with
Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th. Yes.
That's what we're doing right now.
Yesterday was May the 4th be with you. It was also Free Comic Book Day. Picked up some good free comics and some other comics that doesn't really matter to anybody at this podcast because nobody else likes the other podcast I listen to.
Wait.
Also Cinco de Quattro, too, yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. What'd you say, Dale?
You picked up free comics?
I did pick up free comics.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you listened or read comics.
I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was one of the major points of having Drew on this podcast because he was like the only one who does the actual comics.
I thought it was like a gimmick. I thought that was a gimmick we did.
Whoa.
No, I've got probably 200 or 300 comics.
He spent money on things from a comic book store, which is something that I've never done in my life.
That's a lie. We used to get Pokemon cards.
I know.
Yeah, that's so
We used to get Crazy Bones, too.
Yeah. No, that's gags and gifts.
I ended up getting the first edition of the War of the Realms, or the first issue of the War of the Realms, which was done by the McElroy brothers of the Mabim Bam show that I listen to. It's a podcast. They also
Can you just not use the acronym for Mabim Bam?
my brother, and me.
Thank you.
Mabim Bam.
Yeah, Travis.
Bum.
I'm gonna make a Pokemon themed gym.
So they had a pretty good deal going on at all the comic book shops. So I picked up the comics at Dragon's Lair. Didn't see any statues I was particularly interested in, but picked up some more free comics at. They have like a limit of free comics, so they have like 30 or 40 comics that you can pick up for free throughout the whole day, and then the idea is you can take like 10 of them at a store. So they put those 10 out or whatever, and
Choose your comic book.
so basically, yeah. So we people do the rounds and get as many free comics as they can. But Krypton was having a sale, the same sale as Dragon's Lair, 20% off everything in the store, and they had a pretty sweet Heath Ledger Joker statue that I decided to pick up. Sorry.
How do you know it's Heath Ledger?
Well, I mean, it's
You
from
can tell by the character.
it's from the Dark
outfit
Knight
and stuff.
So it's Heath Ledger's version of the Joker.
It's got those scars.
Or the Dark Knight version of the Joker. It kind of similarly represents Heath Ledger, but I mean, let's be honest, it's just a generic white guy face, so we're not really worried about that.
Do we just call Heath Ledger a generic white guy?
Well, I mean,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
In the comics, does Joker bleach his skin, or does he just wear a mask or a makeup?
so there's a difference. There's a couple arcs where he falls into the vat of junk, and it basically scars him a bunch. And
Chemical
there's chemical burn his whole body or his face or whatever. There's some iterations where he does use makeup, and there's some iterations where he doesn't at all. There's actually an iteration where he cuts his whole face off and then staples it back on. And
It's a little too Zydrate for me.
yeah. So there's a bunch of
goddamn word of the day.
Zydrate? No, that was a joke on the repo.
genetic opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Dale probably never seen that before in his entire life.
I mean, I technically didn't see it till TikTok, and Dale doesn't like TikTok, so
Fucking
But-
hate TikTok.
So we went on May the 4th be with you and had a free comic book day, and we actually saw, Tasha and I actually saw Avengers Endgame, so we'll talk about that later. Super excited. Then we had a cookout, and we had a lightsaber battle. So watch out for videos of that on the Facebook page of me and Josh being total fucking nerds.
As Dru was defending, I just decided to chuck my lightsaber at his leg that he was like standing on, and then he collapsed and
That's true.
No one in the history of Star Wars thought of that, I guess. But it works really well.
They've force thrown their lightsabers, but that apparently is not as accurate as just chucking the open lightsaber. Dale, after Cinco de Cuatro, May the 4th be with you, what comes today on May 5th?
What comes today? Cinco
Yeah,
de
what
Mayo.
happens
What's today, Dale?
May 5th?
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, but also, get in your fucking news here. What? Come on, man. You got to get this stuff together. We'll cut this part out, but we got to get this together. All right, go ahead, Dale. What's up?
Ramadan's today, guys.
Ramadan starts today?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Ramadan?
Yeah, I can. So, for those
Ramadan's funny.
I was like, I didn't get the segue. I'm sorry. So today is the first day of Ramadan. Ramadan is a month-long celebration in the Islamic calendar, pretty much. It goes till June 4th of this year. Just like most people, I would say that listen to our podcast are white, familiar with Christian calendar, where we have different, Advent is our, is the Christmas one. Everyone's kind of familiar with that one. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. It's a month-long celebration that commemorates when the Prophet Muhammad retreated to a cave just north of Mecca for a spiritual contemplation, like pretty much just reflection on what he was given. He was given the first verse of the Quran by Gabriel from God.
Hold on, Dale, can I pause you real quick?
Yeah.
I really want to just commend you in your cultural stuff, because you said Quran right and contemplation wrong.
I know what Quran is because I live in Dearborn, but fucking contemplation, I don't fucking know.
Never contemplated a thing in his damn life.
All right, continue.
But we've seen a Quran.
During this time, go ahead, Dale.
Okay, so Muslims around the world use this time to refocus and purify their souls and conduct through self-reflection, self-sacrifice, and prayer. So I don't know if when I was in school, we had a lot of friends that were what?
When we were in school.
When we were in school,
I went to the same middle school.
Whatever, it's not important to the story.
Well, I was going to mention that. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm so familiar with Ramadan is because, like, literally, it was a semi-big deal in our school because about 50% of students were Muslim.
Here in Southeast Michigan, near Detroit and whatnot, we have the largest population of Muslims, Arabic people in the world outside of the Middle East. And so we have a little bit more familiarity with Ramadan and I guess the self-sacrifice portion of it. So a lot of people don't eat during this time. They fast. They don't think about improper thoughts. They try to reflect on themselves. And a lot of the restaurants around here are actually open late. So people who celebrate Ramadan don't eat. They fast throughout the day, and they stop eating before sunrise, and they fast from sunrise to sunset. And so they don't eat that whole time. And so a lot of restaurants around here are open like at 8, 9 o'clock at night. And
man, that's got to be really harsh for people with night jobs.
No, it's actually better. A lot of my friends when I was at Delta would trade off just to work midnights. And because they would sleep during the day and then get up and they get to eat at night.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Or they would take.
I don't know where I was going with that thought about it being harder.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had a lot of Muslim friends that would do that during the nighttime. So yep, today is the first day of that, and we.
How long does that go, Dale?
That goes for 1 month, but May 5th to June 4th. So yep.
And
so,
it changes its time throughout the year as well, because the Muslim calendar is not the
It's 11 days shy.
Calendar.
So every year it is earlier by 11 days.
I wanted to make a joke earlier about you saying the Christian Advent thing, about saying, do you think Christians advented holidays? But then I had to make the joke about you doing the Quran thing instead. So that one went way over.
I like the Quran one better.
Yeah. So, well, like I said, I'm excited. Maybe we can maybe kind of adopt some of those traditions about self-reflection and sacrifice.
It's a really good thing to think about for even non-Muslims.
No sex, guys.
Is this where 40 Days and 40 Nights came from?
No, that's
Lent, right? I was
gonna say, like when Dale was talking about like different Advents, I was like, Lent is probably the most like this.
Yeah, Lent's another one. Yep.
In Christianity.
So, yeah,
and Passover for Judaism.
I always thought Lent was you just give up one thing. It wasn't about like.
Yeah, I mean it
usually is. It's more of a tradition. I mean, or it's more like a ritual that we do.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, we can all kind of benefit from self-reflection, self-sacrifice. So, a little bit of reflection here.
Suggest you let that one marinate.
Yeah, suggest you let that one marinate. A little reflection here on a dearly beloved character in all people's lives, I would assume.
I'd probably say one of the most iconic characters.
I mean, definitely.
I honestly, I mean, there's a couple that might take the cake, but I think that this is one of the most well-known characters
in
this franchise.
I mean, not even in the franchise, but of like all franchises.
The Coca-Cola.
There's not somebody who doesn't know who this is.
Yeah. Peter Mayhew, the man who donned the Chewbacca costume in, was it all but the most recent one? All but
and Solo.
Okay, so all of the ones that Chewbacca is in, basically, because the most recent one was Chewbacca-less, right?
Basically every episode of Star Wars before 8, and then also the Solo movie he was not,
because he was in 7. Because that was he reprised the role.
Half in 7, because he was in 7 also training the person who would take over his role for him through the rest of the movies.
So Peter Mayhew passed away. Do we have a date for that, Josh?
I believe it was the 30th of April. So the 29th.
Passed away on the end of April. At age?
He was. I thought it was.
Dale.
Yeah, we should have.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. Josh typed it in.
Up because he typed that.
I typed it in. I'm sorry. I didn't get the actual. I mean, May 19th, 1944 to April 30th, 2019.
He was 74 years old. Died in Boyd, Texas.
So, lived a fantastic life, being a really, I mean, like, I would say probably one of the most iconic characters in any and he was also
video media tall, which I mean, but obviously one of the reasons why he was cast as such a tall character. But I mean, complications that come with being that tall, usually end up shortening your life for some reason or the other. And he remained active. I mean, he literally had a con scheduled to go to in June here. So, I mean, he was literally still active.
Well, I think he had a con just the other day, the weekend he passed, because I saw a photo.
Memorial for him too, yeah.
Yeah, so I wondered if he was supposed to make it and then, obviously passed. But he did die of a heart attack, and he was British and American nationality.
Yeah, as I say, I saw a couple pictures of him and some other cast members from the show, and I mean, he's towering more than 2 foot over the rest of some of the cast members.
Yeah. Oh my God, Ewan McGregor's tiny. Sorry, that has nothing to do with this.
So
just looking at cast members all standing next to him, and like Ewan McGregor is one of the shortest. Like I'm pretty sure Carrie Fisher was taller than Ewan McGregor.
Oh, guaranteed. So yeah, we want to do a little moment of silence for Peter Mayhew.
Not even a moment's silence, just a Chewbacca roar.
Ready, Dale?
I can't do a Chewbacca roar.
You gotta try it. You gotta try it, Dale.
You gotta try your chewiest.
Ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
I don't think Dale did. I think Dale just moved his lips.
No one. Oh, I can't.
That's I'll accept that this time,
Yeah.
Dale. Next time, don't sound like you're gargling balls in your mouth.
He was one of the Wookiees with strep throat.
All right, Josh, what's this little bit here about?
Yeah, so recently, since the Star Wars Celebration and May the 4th are coming up, two very good canon Star Wars books came out. Master and Apprentice came out middle of April, and then Fallen Jedi Dooku came out shortly after that, about 2.5 weeks after. So I finished Master and Apprentice. I'm currently reading Dooku. And Master Apprentice was so this is one of the canon looks at Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi when Obi-Wan was still a Padawan, before the events of the Phantom Menace. It was one of their it was one of their early ventures. It introduced a new Jedi, who I've never heard of, Avaros. And it was really, it was kind of interesting because like, I feel like this is like as close to like a cowboy Jedi as we're going to get. But he talked like a cowboy. They said he like dressed very like rustically. Like if he was in like a cowboy hat, boots and chaps.
So what you're saying is he's like got a duster?
Yeah, kind of. Like it was like if Lonesome Dove was a Jedi, instead of like a gunslinger.
Or was it Tombstone?
Tombstone, that would be another one too. Yeah, Rael Avaros is his name. So what you find out is that Count Dooku had Rael Avaros as an apprentice that was taken very later in life. There's nothing on the Wikipedia about him. I was looking for it the other day. But he was taken older than normal to be trained as a Jedi by Count Dooku. Well, not Count Dooku, just Dooku at the time. And then after Avaros, then Dooku took on Qui-Gon Jinn to be his apprentice. And then Qui-Gon Jinn took on Obi-Wan to be his apprentice. So it's kind of this story about, the relationship between master and apprentice. Talked about Dooku's obsession with prophecy, which was kind of interesting because like that was something that I didn't know about Dooku. I knew that was something, Qui-Gon was done. But apparently the notion of prophecy was Dooku's obsession that he put on Rael Avaros, and then Avaros told Qui-Gon that if he wanted to, get in good with Dooku, he should start studying prophecy. So he did, and then Dooku again fell into more prophecy with Qui-Gon, and then Qui-Gon was teaching prophecy to Obi-Wan. So really fun relationship between that. There were some prophecies that were basically written out in the books, said in the books that were things that we know have already come true, like obviously the Chosen One prophecy. But there was prophecies that haven't come true yet that might possibly have hinted towards, episode 7 and later. One of my favorite ones being one that I'm paraphrasing here, said that the one who learns to cheat death through his greatest student shall live again. And I think that might just mean, like obviously Palpatine was the greatest student of Darth Plagueis, who learned to cheat death. And therefore that's why Plagueis was,
Plagueis the Wise.
That's why Palpatine was, a really strong Sith Lord and was basically, being ruled by Plagueis. However, I think it actually has to do with what we heard in the Star Wars Episode 9 trailer, where Palpatine's voice, you hear his cackle, his laugh at the end of the trailer. I think that this prophecy, because the timing's just spot on. I tweeted at Claudia Gray, the author, to see if she could comment on it. She didn't. But the timing is
Hold on, pause. I like Dale. Dale, have you ever noticed that Josh does that often? He's like, I do this, and and then nothing came
No,
of it.
it's a brag that led to nothing.
Yeah. It's not a brag. I'm just making sure people know I did my diligence because I want to find out more about this because I think
nobody cares you did your diligence.
No, I think
someone would.
I care. I care
Yeah.
that he did his diligence,
Okay.
but I like that people do their own independent research and everything like that. It's just always like, it's one of these things that Josh does. He's like, I did this and nothing happened.
Yeah.
I tried, but nothing
fell short. But even way, so
fell short. Just like
I'm thinking that, because the way the prophecy reads, and that's the whole kind of point of Master and Apprentice is like prophecies aren't necessarily set in stone. They're fluid things where, it's not, we can't use prophecies to tell the future. We can only accept the prophecies forthcoming and we're just victims to how they play out. But I think it was hinting at the fact that Kylo Ren has a really deep obsession with Darth Vader, who was, the greatest student of Palpatine. And I think Palpatine actually did learn the secret to staying alive. And I think once he learned the secret to staying alive, then he killed Plagueis. And then that's why he's like, okay, now I know this and now no one else can. I think that through Kylo's obsession with Darth Vader, he's going to inadvertently end up bringing Palpatine back through some means. I mean, there's tons of canonical Star Wars ways where we can bring things back from the past. Ahsoka being one of them.
So will you repeat the phrase?
And again, it's I had it written down and I put it on a YouTube comment, but I don't have it anymore. It was along the lines of the one who learns to cheat death through his greatest student shall live again.
I think in my sense, I don't think it's more physical. I think it's more ideological.
Yeah.
That it's not, you can cheat death by instilling beliefs in
the people you train,
in the people you train,
and then
so much they become you reincarnate, not necessarily physically reincarnate, but like it's basically they're just as bad, just as headstrong, just as willing to do what you were willing to do.
And I definitely think that's why this prophecy has existed within the Jedi Order for so long, is because I think that's what the Jedi were taking for a very long time. They take these prophecies as metaphors. They weren't something that they would actually have, literally taken true. Like, this person is going to come back alive. The fact that it says, the one who learns to cheat death, specifically replying, that is about at least one known character within the Star Wars universe, possibly, his apprentice.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I think that this literal interpretation of it is a direct thing for Palpatine.
Which is kind of where I was
going
to
go. When Palpatine says it to Anakin?
No, well, so Palpatine tells the story of Darth Plagueis to Anakin, with Anakin not knowing that Plagueis was the master who taught Palpatine all this stuff. And Palpatine was that.
And he says that in the Senate, right?
He says that while they're watching an opera.
Opera, that's right.
Yeah.
And he says, Palpatine says, "Do you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?" And Anakin says, "No." Palpatine says, "I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Plagueis was a Sith Lord, or Dark Lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise that he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. He had such a knowledge of the dark side, he could even keep the one who cared about him from dying."
The one he cared about from dying.
And then later he says to cheat death is the power only one has to achieve, but if we work together, I know we can discover the secret.
Yeah, and I think Palpatine already knew the secret. He was just trying to use
that story to
Anakin's Anakin was already having worries about Padme at this time. So he was like, "Oh, we can help save her," and that's why he was doing it. But yeah, I think that comes into play again there as well. I'm really excited. Master and Apprentice was a great book. I liked the author, so I listened to it on Audible. The narrator did a really good Ewan McGregor Scottish voice, and then a Qui-Gon Jinn voice too, which both of them are, accents pretty well. So yeah, I think it did a really good job. I'm really excited for on this. And it also is another possibility that there might be somebody else who survived, because we never hear of Rael Averross again outside of this book. He doesn't pop up anywhere else from what I can imagine, like I can see anywhere. So he might have survived Order 66, which means there might actually be some other Jedi out there too as well.
So he's still a Jedi. He's not a Sith Lord.
So, I mean, he was a student of Dooku, and Dooku ended up leaving the Order after Rael Averross was already a Jedi Master. And they didn't have any real talks with each other until after Qui-Gon goes back and talks to Rael, and then when Qui-Gon leaves Rael to himself. But they kind of leave it up in the air what Rael decided to do, whether he was going to go back to the Jedi Order or stay kind of this rogue Jedi thing, which I think, you know, Ahsoka was another one of those people who left the Order. And
was Count Dooku a Jedi Master?
He was a master. He was Yoda's Padawan.
Yeah, but just because you are a Jedi doesn't mean you're a Jedi Master.
No, but he went from the rank of knight to master.
Okay.
He was one of the strongest pupils that Yoda ever took too.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's
it for our Star Wars.
That's not all the Star Wars.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
We'll jump back into Star Wars later. Pop culture literacy. Josh, do you have a question for Dale?
Yeah, Dale.
We swapped it up last week, but this week we are going to
back to the normal.
Get back to the future.
So, Dale, I know that you're a fan of Game of Thrones. So Sophie Turner, one of the actresses in Game of Thrones who plays Sansa Stark, recently was married. Snap wedding in Las Vegas. Who did she get married to?
God damn it. No, I did hear this.
Who did she marry?
Who did she marry? Who did she marry? That is the question.
Whether it is nobler the mind to wed.
I will say that her now brother-in-law had a really public, huge wedding in the UK. And this wedding was like quick, fast. I think Diplo was there, which was kind of weird, but you don't know who Diplo is either. But
no,
who's Diplo?
The name Hanson comes up.
Hanson?
Hanson,
like a band of Hanson, like the boys, the Hanson band.
I can't.
Like the brothers, the group of people that were all together.
She married three brothers, the Hanson brothers.
I just remember the name Hanson, but I don't even know if that's correct.
Oh, I can tell where your brain's trying to make a connection right now, and like, it's on it. Like, I think there's another group of brothers that sing music that were kind of goody two-shoe boys, like the Hanson brothers.
More dark in color, though.
Whoa. I mean, their wardrobe was a little darker, but
okay, I don't know.
Hair and
I don't know.
It was Joe Jonas from the Jonas Brothers.
Why would I? That's so stupid.
They have brown hair.
They do have brown hair.
And they have darker skin, like tan skin.
I immediately thought a colored person.
Yeah, I know. That's why
I immediately thought an African American.
like the Hanson brothers were blonde hair, blue eyed, like stark white.
Yeah, but the way you said it was like a little darker complexion.
Yeah, the Jonas Brothers are not.
They're like the emo version of Hanson.
Not even emo.
I know.
They were just literally just all brown haired, brown eyed.
Oh my gosh. I don't like this. I'm not doing good. Why would I even care about who she marries?
It's pop culture.
I hate pop culture so much.
So
ridiculous.
Well, maybe we can.
That was on May 1st, everybody. Just so we.
I'm winning this next one, though. I can tell you that right now.
Good. Maybe we can.
This next segment,
settle it in the nerd battle here. All right. So, I was given 2 characters by the 2 gentlemen to my left and above me. And Dale picked One Punch Man.
God damn it.
And Josh picked Krillin. So this is 2 weeks in a row that they both picked.
No.
This is 2 weeks in a row that they've both picked very similar characters in one way or another.
Without knowing
General Iroh and the Major General, and now bald and bald. There's some big connector. First off, for this, there's really one way to do this kind of thing is you got to kind of put them in the same category as far as strength, right? We did that. We decided to do strength.
It was battle, physical strength, hand-to-hand combat, and I wrote the number Tuesday. Oh, that's one.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to buy.
I wrote the thing Tuesday. And the battle takes place on a Tuesday.
Oh, man.
That's important. That's important for the battle.
Krillin's got a chiropractic on the Tuesday. He didn't show up.
Yeah.
So one of the things we did, I thought about when I got Dale's on Tuesday, because Josh got it to me pretty quickly. I think it was like Sunday or Monday afternoon.
No, I got it to you really quickly.
Oh, I was waiting on Josh, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I think, he was like, Dale already gave me his, but I mean, it was still really quick. We gave you a lot more notice this time than last time.
So what I kind of did is I searched around for power level comparisons based on both the Dragon Ball Z world and the One Punch Man world, or the idea of One Punch Man, and just solely based on their power levels, One Punch Man takes it.
Just stop now.
Hold on. However, the dependency is the one thing that I brought to it was the time frames in which the ideas of them came, or not the ideas of them, but they existed in their areas. So the idea that I had was, depending on that, either of them could have killed the other, depending on where you look at them in the timeline, based on their individual power levels at individual times. So at one point, Krillin's power level was lower than 1300, 1300 is his max power level he gets to.
No.
Yeah.
Krillin?
Yeah. You obviously aren't caught up on Super.
Yeah, Krillin's power level is a lot higher.
What did he get to?
Millions.
Millions, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 1.
Maybe you're looking at Dragon Ball power levels.
Maybe it was 1.3, and then they just left off the rest of it.
Because he battled in the
Tournament of Power.
And while he wasn't obviously any
he wasn't crazy strong, but he did also. So he was retraining with Gohan and almost beat Gohan and almost beat Goku in a one-on-one battle.
He almost beat Goku at regular power.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And once he turned blue, he was still
I would have told, we said it had to be a human, so that was one of the reasons why I was like, oh, I can't pick Goku, or Superman or something.
Yeah.
But then also because it was a fight, I was like, I'm going to pick Krillin because Krillin is a martial arts expert. Arguably, in the Dragon Ball universe, the strongest human on the planet. Maybe Tien over Krillin, but I doubt it. I still bet Krillin would have it. The only thing I'm going to say against One Punch Man, though, One Punch Man, he's got that one hit, and that's it. And Krillin, if he had the ability to use powers, which we said he can't use in this thing, Solar Flare right out of the way. One Punch Man's done. Can't do anything.
I was like,
One
Punch Man just moves around so quickly.
Yeah,
he's fast too.
Yeah, but
Josh, did you watch One Punch Man?
I have watched One Punch Man. Yeah, not all the way through. Just a couple. The stuff on Netflix at the beginning. I don't think it's on.
Yeah, I haven't watched the new stuff. I know they're coming with new stuff.
But
yeah, Krillin 1.365 million.
Yeah, I was like, he's up there. He's really strong.
And that's in
he's stronger than a Super Saiyan.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Because even he holds his own pretty well with 18 when they're sparring, and 18 is just as strong as 17, and we all know.
So in the Captain Ginyu saga, he only went to 13,000.
Yeah, that was on Namek.
75,000 in the Frieza saga.
Which is still, that was after his power level got, well, no. His hidden power got unlocked even before that. Interesting.
Trying to see if there's anything higher.
Are you on just Dragon Ball Wiki?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough website to...
Well, because they have it segmented out so differently.
Yeah.
And like I said, too, when like Drew was like, hey, what's Goku's power level? And I was like, it doesn't matter because power levels are bullshit.
Yeah, I'm showing like 2 billion for One Punch Man.
Well, so One Punch Man had at one point when he was quote unquote what they have training. A lot of the ones that they bring up is training and then serious. So if they're just training, their power levels are not as bad as or high as if they're serious. And at one point, One Punch Man put that his or One Punch Man at a serious moment was question mark. But at another one after or during training, it was like 2 billion. That being said, I also tried to flip the script and find Goku in One Punch Man's power level area, and they still said even in One Punch Man power level ratings that One Punch Man would still have a higher power level than Goku. But
that's where we take liberties with this nerd battle. I'm honestly gonna say, like, okay, Drew, when we were talking and I was like, oh man, if we were picking humans, like I was either gonna pick Krillin or I was gonna pick this other guy who I knew could beat Krillin, but I didn't think I needed to go that hard. And guess who that character was? One Punch Man.
Yeah, he literally said One Punch. He was like, I thought about picking One Punch Man, and I like kind of like just didn't. I didn't make. I like made like a weird face. But not like oh man, he picked Dale's character. But he also said something about there was a discrepancy. I was making sure throughout the week too. Is I didn't find anything about One Punch Man.
So One Punch Man. His arc starts out as he's a human. He was a businessman of some kind. He's walking down the street,
and he trained.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, all you see is like before he is the person, and then you see nothing, and then he's very strong. So he could have gotten abilities bestowed upon him. He could have trained. We don't know. So as of right now,
from the research that I did, it said that basically his training regimen was so intense that he unlocked he took away his power limiter. So basically he doesn't have a max power limit. He basically...
And that's my understanding of One Punch Man too. I honestly will, at this point in time, concede only because I can't honestly say that I wouldn't have picked One Punch Man to beat Krillin myself if I was going to pick someone to beat Krillin.
But man, for both of you guys to pick a bald dude like the next week after doing the major general major or whatever.
By the way, thank you, Kyle, for commenting on that. And
I didn't see it. What do you say?
Well, so Kyle's like, this is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. Like, because
we want to get some context to it.
Well, I mean, so last week we had to pick which general, or it wasn't. We had to pick like a master strategist to like beat like a battle of wits, and I picked the major general from Pirates of Penzance, and Dale picked Iroh, and then we got into this weird complexity. Like we were arguing over ranks, like which ranks were higher.
Well, no, because Drew said that just based on rank alone,
major general outranked general, but
a brigadier general is a 1-star and a major general is a 2-star. So just on that rank alone, then you would have it, which I agree. But I don't even know why I was watching this, but like I was on YouTube and then something popped up where like, oh, in this type of thing, he would be a higher, one of the second highest in the whole army.
It's based off your cookies. You Googled it while we were doing the show, and then it was like, oh
no, this was like Tuesday last week, something like just not even in the realm of I was thinking about it, and it popped up on my YouTube videos I was watching, and I was like, I'm going to do some research real quick. So I researched the ranks, and so in terms of rank, General Iroh, when he was a general, because that was mentioned last week, he would actually be second in command of the whole entire Fire Nation army, which means in terms of rank, he would be a 4-star general of the army.
So based on it was a misnomer on his actual the verbal rank versus what his actual duties would have been.
Yeah. Correct.
And my thing to this too, I will say this, he did, by the end of his life, he did fall under, because he did renounce his title as general, technically.
So he didn't. He retired from the army before, because he died, or he retired.
He died after Liu Shen died.
Because of his brother. Because of his son.
Yeah.
His son died in that thing, so that's why he retired. So he actually never was renounced until Zuko actually in the book 2 during the eclipse, he was arrested. If you remember that.
Danny Zuko?
No. But I know in season 1 even
so what did
Admiral
Kyle
was
say?
higher than.
Let's get back to what
Kyle was like. No, general outranks major general is what he said. Like,
really?
Yeah, but that's probably just U.S. Army.
Yeah,
and my major generals from the British Army.
That's why I said and I had 48 hours to just.
There's no going back. We're 1-1.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to bring that up.
Like I said before we even started, I could just not like what Josh said to me yesterday and just be like, Josh sucks. Josh loses.
It's true.
So we're gonna jump into the rest of nerdy news.
Wait, what's next week's nerd battle?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Next week's nerd battle, we're going to do no holds barred.
Ooh,
anything goes.
Going all out.
One team.
Limit of people.
Let's make it 5 or fewer.
Okay.
So you can do Guinea Force and Avengers.
Stop just naming things.
Well, I mean, you guys are probably already thinking that.
I was thinking Guinea Force at first.
I was not thinking Guinea Force. I think those guys are too weak.
They're definitely. So that's what I got to do. I got to play. I got to pick somebody who I know could beat Dale's character is what I'm thinking in my head.
So we'll do a team, and then it'll be a full any powers. No, not just physical strength. Anything that they've got.
Okay.
So
can the team?
Go ahead. Well, go ahead, Dale.
Can the team there's a larger amount of people that are in the team, and we can select the individual people from the team?
Yeah. So I mean, I would
pick 5 Avengers.
Well, like I said,
let's say I did pick 5 Avengers. I could pick the Avenger. Which Avenger I'd pick?
Yes, because but I would you can't pick Iron Man and Goku and
yeah.
I'm not doing a hero clicks thing. I'm doing pick a team.
Yep.
Because at any point in time, for the Avengers, all 5 of those people had probably been in one battle in the comics or whichever.
Yep.
And then but like I said, if you pick Avengers, don't say anything else.
Yep.
Because now Josh knows. But yes, I would like to, but here's the thing. I want a paragraph of context on their PowerPoints and stuff. Things that you are thinking of
Now, I want to say something real quick. This is a battle, but you're not specifying what the battle is in, right? It's not just all out fighting. It could be
no holds barred. So it's all out. They could destroy the planet they're fighting on to beat each other.
Okay.
Bad guys, good guys, whichever. Anything.
Could they how can I say this? Remember in Scrubs when Dr. Cox came in, that guy was sitting there smiling I'm gonna kick that guy out, and the guy goes, "Hi," and the guy's like, "Oh, I can't kick him out now because he smiled at me and he's nice." Remember that?
Yeah, it's the guy with he had Lyme disease.
Yeah. Is that a strategy?
I mean, if that's a strategy you want to put forth, but shut up and stop talking about it because
it didn't work so well in the Tournament of Power. Brienne and all that, like that whole entire universe that used like the power of love.
Yeah, I'm not using
people.
that.
Just saying.
So, but yes, we'll do that battle. So 5 or fewer, and it doesn't have to be 5. It can be 3 or 4, whichever. If you think 3 people are going to be better. But like I said, I want a little bit of like the reasons you think that'll work, so I can have something to work off of. There, just thoughts there.
Yeah.
We're still hashing this one out. So we're going to jump into this because this will probably be this next couple topics will probably be pretty big as far as that goes.
Deep dive.
So VR. So Josh and I are both looking at getting VR systems. Dale, tell us what you don't like about VR.
This is the spring for VR. I just want to say there's so much VR news all dropping last month, this month, pre-orders coming out. Like,
yep,
it's big. This is like the second wave.
There's been
major VR.
I was going to say there's been VR for about 5 years now. It's not something that's super new, but we're getting, like Josh said, this is like it's like, I don't know, the next step into, next iteration, but next step into Ready Player One stuff where you get full immersion. So we're really looking forward to that. So Dale, real quick, I want you to tell everybody what you don't like about VR or anything like that.
I personally think VR is a gimmick. Every time I put on a VR headset, I don't like being outside of where I am. I feel weird when I'm using it. I've never played a game on it, so that is a negative that I have.
So we played Beat Saber when we were at.
He didn't. It was just me and you.
Yeah,
that's probably why.
Yeah,
he didn't play it, so he didn't know.
Yeah.
So when you've played VR, is it basically just visual, like things?
Surf the web, watch the TV show.
So one of the things that I don't necessarily know about is getting we'll touch real quick on some of the ones that are already out. We've got the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive Pro, and then the Windows Mixed Reality.
That's not like
those are the ones that kind of
shitty VR where you can buy the cardboard box at Walmart.
No, I mean
these are
these are pretty dedicated VR systems. So HTC Vive's been out for about 5 years. The Oculus Rift has been out for about the same amount of time. Those are both PC versions. They need the PC to run. Windows Mixed Reality basically takes a bunch of smaller third-party headsets with inside-out tracking and gives you the same set of controllers. Nothing different about the controllers, whereas the Oculus and HTC have different controller sets, and we'll go over those later. But those ones that they have there basically kind of have been the flagships of VR. But now they're jumping into the next iteration of you have the Oculus Go, which is an enterprise model, and the HTC, if I remember correctly, the HTC or the Vive Focus, which is the enterprise version for HTC. They're basically VR for jobs.
Yep. So Walmart uses trainings on the Vive Pro right now, actually.
Is it Vive Pro or the Focus?
No, it's the Vive Pro.
Okay. So basically it's just virtual reality customer service. They have virtual reality like mechanic classes and stuff like that where you can actually pull apart pieces of vehicles and stuff like that. They have all these sorts of training modules for those two.
Virtual reality podcast.
Yeah. The new ones that are coming out in kind of the order that they were released was the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift S. Oculus Rift S was announced, and then the Vive Cosmos, and then the Oculus Quest, and then the Valve Index. And that was about November of last year, where those all four kind of decided that they were going to release the information.
There were E3 launches, I thought, weren't there?
So
was it CES, I think.
It was CES, but I mean, there's E3 they had hinted at. new stuff, and then CES was kind of like you got some early designs, and then over the last 6 months or so, you've gotten pre-orders and final designs and everything like that are like the Vive Cosmos still is in pre-order as a prior
it's
to
not
pre-order.
even in pre-order yet,
Yeah.
so it's still in, like, hasn't had an official.
So let's just work starting with the Oculus, the two Oculus, and then we'll go to the Vive and the.
Let's just touch base on one more quick thing that's coming out with this new iteration of VR headsets. Not all the VR headsets have this, and they're not all created the same. A lot of them are going to no connection to a PC to all contained units, like the current Oculus Go.
So they have
it all contained in the headset unit.
So they'll have inside out tracking plus no PC no PC connectivity necessary. So the Oculus Go is primarily smaller level games, but also you can do movies, video watching apps, and stuff like that.
But it's all meant to be done in the comfort of a chair as well. I mean, you're sitting down, you can look around, but you can't have any forward, backward depth. It's only 3 degrees of freedom instead of
the 6.
6.
So the Oculus Quest is the Oculus's new version of the non-tethered like high-end game mode, whereas the Oculus Go is more so kind of geared toward video watching and things like that.
It's like a mobile system.
Yeah, it's a mobile system.
That's the other type of like headset too. Oculus does have the Samsung Gear VR.
Is that Oculus?
Yeah, it's powered by Oculus.
Nice.
So it's literally just you snap your phone in and then you watch, the 2 screens there. Very similar to, we talked about it the other week, the Nintendo Switch's system, where it's a cardboard box that you slap the Nintendo Switch into, and now you got a VR.
I have that.
You have not the Nintendo Switch. You have
the Samsung one.
Yeah, the Samsung Gear, which is like, as Drew said, it's more centered towards like phone game apps, low processing power apps, but also video watching, I think is the other thing that they do really well on.
So the Oculus Quest is going to be that self-contained all-in-one unit. Some of the specs on it are, let's see if we can get there real quick.
Oh, I mean, I'd go up because you're passing a bunch of things these are all things about it that.
Well, these are.
So there's no PC, no wires. It's just the headset on your head.
Yeah, we already said that.
The next one, I think, what else? So it uses the inside-out tracking, which for those of you guys that don't know, there's 4 cameras on the outside of the headset that actually look around the room you're physically in. And as you move closer or further back from those objects, it does that for you. It also has your bounds are done by drawing a virtual bounds around you instead of having towers set up around you.
And I'm more so looking for like the visuals for, or the interior screen sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All this stuff, the inside out tracking and the bound, the drawing your bounds and stuff like that, that's being done today. Like that stuff is, you don't have to, like that's not new. So what I'm looking for is kind of the specs on the actual headset and the hardware, which I thought was here, but
maybe it's in the overview.
I still can't get over the gimmicky of it, in my opinion.
You go up to the top, it said explore features.
That's where I was at.
Oh, that's where you were at before.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's got right here. So 2 touch controllers. Learn more what's inside the box.
There were a lot other reviews online that I was watching. I can't remember. The problem is I've watched so many reviews about these headsets. I can't remember which ones applied to which ones now. If I remember correctly, the Quest has a 100-degree field of vision, I think it's some of. So normal human eyesight's about 170 degrees. I mean, it's almost perfectly flat. For what we can see. And this will kind of be a little narrower than that. But the other thing, too, is it does not have a a focus forward and back. So once you put it on your face, it stays where it's at. Does that one flip up? I forgot.
This is not a flip up. So one of the things that I don't enjoy about some of the headsets is the flip up factor, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But some things that are included in the box: 2 touch controllers, the Oculus Quest headset, 15-watt power adapter, AA batteries, and frame-friendly spacer.
Yeah, so that's because it can't go in and out necessarily. You can put a little spacer that'll make it sit further from your face
for glasses.
For your glasses, so you can wear your glasses while you're in the thing. Some of them you can change the focuses to match your eyesight if you have a problem. This one cannot do that. So if you wear glasses, wear your glasses on the inside.
So that's the Oculus Quest. I'm not finding. Dale, can you try and find some tech specs on the Oculus Quest while we talk about the Rift?
Yeah.
So, and it might just not be. They might just not be out yet, or something like to that effect. Because I was able to find them for some of the other ones. So,
what do you want to know about it?
Like the interior
field of view
resolutions,
resolutions.
Yeah. It's not in the overview or features page.
Yeah, so it has a display resolution of 1440 by 1600 per eye, a 32 hertz refresh rate, Snapdragon 835, 6 gigs of RAM, 2 to 3 hour playtime with a lithium-ion battery, 6 degrees of freedom, head and hand tracking, 2 touch controls, and it's about 571 grams. Release date is May 21st.
So
coming up.
Yeah. So and like I said, the refresh rate's something that a lot of people are trying to take into consideration. You get a better refresh rate for something that's hardwired, and some of the screen resolution changes based on that.
I play 60-degree resolution. Like my monitors are 60-degree.
60 hertz.
I'm sorry, 60 hertz. You're right. And I don't really see a difference between, because I have one monitor that's 120 and I switch it sometimes. I see no difference. It's not smooth.
The human eye only sees in about 52 frames per second.
So, I mean, 72 is fine. If it's that close, maybe there might be a little difference, but
so
it seems like it's going to be fine.
So a couple of things that, and we'll get into that a little later. So next is the Rift S, which has been announced recently too. This one is the Tether or the PC complete version. Basically, you need the PC to play it. It comes with the same set of controllers and everything that the other Oculus comes with. But it's got inside-out tracking as well. The idea behind this is you don't need the lighthouses. That way, you don't have to worry about additional hardware or anything like that.
Your setup's a lot easier.
It's you plug and play basically. You don't have to worry about anything to that effect there. They've got a little bit of a redesign for the controllers for both the Oculus and the Oculus Rift S and the Oculus Quest. But the biggest
work with the inside out tracking.
Yeah. The other thing that, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this already. The Rift S is a flip up, so it's a single headband connector, or single headband wearable with the frame flips up, similar to the Windows mixed reality experiences and the PlayStation VR. So whereas the Oculus Go the Oculus Go and the Oculus Quest headsets sit on, and you have to put the whole headset on to make it work, you can actually flip the front plate of the Oculus Rift S up. Some of the things are similar to that. Can you give us some of that information, Dale?
Say it again now.
The same sort of information you gave us for the Quest, for the Oculus Rift S. And if you want to bring up the Vive Cosmos and the Valve Index too, I've got the Index one, but
let's see the specs for the S. I'm showing very similar.
I believe it is pretty much the same optics, I thought, in both of them.
I'm pretty sure. I thought the refresh rate was different on those two.
I think, yeah, you're at 60.
I think it's on the 60.
Yeah, I think it's actually less on the plug-in VR.
I'm not showing. This is the one that plugs into the computer, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just showing graphics card, CPU, data port. So it has a display port 1.2, and that can support, I think, 150 hertz. I don't know if it actually displays that, but sorry, a lot of data. Plus, when I don't know what I'm looking for.
I'm just looking for like the refresh rate for the interior screens and.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter because it's not the ones that me and Drew like, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. What comes in the boxes?
As well.
Headset, controllers, cable, batteries, video output, cable. Minimum system requirements at this point are. Go ahead.
TheVerge.com is showing the Oculus Rift S is a 80 hertz refresh rate.
That's what I thought. So 80 hertz up there for that. Now Josh's one that he likes is the Vive Cosmos. Does not currently, I don't think, have a release date.
Nope, hasn't even officially been announced yet.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been announced. Obviously, it's on Vive's website, but like the price point for it, how much it's going to cost, when it's going to ship, when everything's like that, full detailed specs aren't actually out for that as well. But the thing I like about the Vive Cosmos is it's a PC-based headset. So you still have to plug it into a PC, so its processing power is going to be limited on what you have for a computer. It's flip up, so I do like that flip up idea.
See, what I've heard about flip up, and I'm just literally just looking at the animation on the website right now. You can kind of, when you scroll, it does the flip up design. The flip up, from what I've heard, because it has that one hinge can become loose, and also that means that it will fall away from your face in extreme movements. But also the light inlet is potentially worse, so you get a lot of light,
background light,
exterior light pollution into this headset.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Josh.
I have seen on these inside-out systems what they do recommend is playing not in a dark room, but a natural lit room. So something that doesn't need a whole lot of light in it. Why
would it have a wireless radio in
it? To probably be able to connect. I think so the Vive, one of the things that is kind of cool about it, there's talks that it might be able to wirelessly connect through 5G to
it's
computers.
So 5G possibly, but this is saying 2.4 gigahertz for the connection.
Yeah.
No 5 gigahertz radio inside the thing.
So, and I know, I mean, like I said, this hasn't officially, like, they haven't had a conference from Vive to be like, here's the stuff we're launching, here's when it comes out, where they have for like the Oculus, the Valve, and everything else. But one of the things I like about it is PC based, but it's also, they're talking cell phone based. So if you have a smart enough cell phone with the processing power, you can actually plug your cell phone into it, which might be that 2.5 gigahertz option there too as well. Maybe it's a wireless connection with the phone, running things that way. But so it could run with other things, inside out tracking. The controllers, I think, look phenomenal. They are a redesign of the Vive controllers. They look very similar to the Oculus controllers. But I really like the look of the new controllers. The resolution on it is 1440 times 1600 per each eye. So same thing as what was in the Oculus Go. Its field of vision is supposed to be a little wider than that. Of what was in there, I just don't remember. It's not actually telling me what its field of vision was, or even its refresh rate. I thought it was 80 on that one as well.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a lot we know about that because of its.
I think 120 will be the point at which they talk about it. So unless it hits that 120 mark, it'll be less than 100.
Well, that's really interesting that you said that, Dale. Because
so the Valve Index is the one that I am going to get. And I'm not going to be that guy and shit on Josh's pick, but the
shit on it.
The Valve Index is the quote unquote at this point, because we don't know a lot about the Cosmos, is the most advanced one that they're going to get.
I forgot eye tracking on the Cosmos, which is what's going to be better than everything else. That's the thing I'm most excited for. Is
are they doing
the
eye
actual
tracking?
ability to track eyes? Yeah,
because I know that they do that in the Vive Pro.
Yep, it's going to be in the Cosmos as well.
Okay. So the Valve Index is the new flagship from Steam and Valve to do a full headset that does PC tracking, or that's PC connected. One of the things that we have for that is full head strap, no flip up, and then it's got exterior cameras, but also lighthouses. So it combines the interior tracking versus the exterior tracking for the headset itself. The other thing that it does is it's actually got, from what I've seen, a modular USB-A port in the front face.
USB-A port?
Yeah, regular USB.
3.0.
The 3.0 USB port.
Okay.
The regular USB is technically called USB-A.
Yeah.
So it's a USB-A port in the front plate of the headset.
Really?
So they're assuming that you could potentially bring...
They have nothing developed for it yet.
They have nothing developed for it yet, but the idea is you can potentially use...
Like a flash drive?
Yeah.
Like a unicorn?
Well, it's not like sticking right out. It's flat in the... Let's see. Dale, just look it up. Look up the faceplate of the Valve Index.
Valve Index.
Yep. So I think it's in the website that we linked. Anyway, the next thing that is a whole new redesigned controller that'll work with Steam, your HTC Vive controllers. So if Josh were to be overzealous and only want to get the Vive Cosmos headset, and then also the Valve Index knuckles, then he could potentially combine the two and have complete, it really is, if he's really interested in the eye tracking versus the non-eye tracking, then I think he'd be interested in the knuckles controllers, because it's more tracking than just the regular controllers. Even though the regular controllers look sweet, I think that the knuckles controllers, using the full, like he said, 3D touch sensors.
They're pressure sensitive.
It's pressure sensitive. So older games, you can only basically do a pincer grab. You could do a trigger controller and a thumb controller, and that was really all you had for grabbing things. But now on the knuckles controllers, they have sensors on the actual handle, and then they have a thumb and a trigger sensor. So basically, you have a full 5-finger trigger sensor, and it's over just the last 4 months. The sensing has gotten completely, I don't want to say revolutionary, but it's completely been upgraded based on that, because not everybody has the same size hand, so they can't base it off of a regular kind of standard positioning. So what they've learned to do is just basically take the amount of, or the number of touches in specific areas, and gather that information like it would be a different button. The other thing is they strap independently of you holding the controller, so you can actually open palm hold the controller without ever touching any of the buttons. That way, that gives you an open hand feeling, so you can throw a ball or pick up a baseball bat and drop it without actually dropping the controller. And it's kind of neat. The other thing is they completely redesigned lighthouses, the sensors that actually go in the room. But with all of this stuff, it's all compatible with any of the Steam VR stuff. So HTC Vive, lighthouses or controllers. So if you only wanted the Valve Index headset or just the Knuckles controllers or just the new lighthouses to upgrade your system that you already have, it's all compatible. So the idea is this is basically a sister headset to the HTC stuff. That's kind of the way that goes. So price points for all of these. So the HTC Vive Pro and Vive, the standard Vive, were $699 and $1099 for the full set.
Yeah. The Cosmos is rumored to be at $799.
The Cosmos is rumored to be about $800. The Oculus Go is $399. The Oculus Go is like
$150.
The Oculus Go for a 16 gig is like $150. For a 32 gig is the 32 gigs $250 on sale. The Oculus Quest runs at for 64 gigs $400 and 128 gigs $500, and that comes with everything included, controllers and all.
What about the Valve?
Huh?
What about the Valve?
So the Valve, one second. So the Oculus Rift S is that all-in-one tracking thing, and this is a good price point for it, for $400 for the PC-based Oculus Rift. The idea with that is that you have the Windows mixed reality stuff. It's lower-end equipment. You don't have the higher refresh rates, higher things like that. You can get one of those Windows mixed reality ones with a generic controller for about $200. So to have a flagship product for twice the cost and get pretty good equipment is pretty good. Now the Valve Index is back up there with the HTC Vives at about $999. So about $1,000 for and that's the whole setup. So the headset, the controllers, and the two lighthouses. You can, however, get either one thing or the other a la carte almost. So you can get the controllers and the headset for $749 if you already have the HTC Vive lighthouses, and you can also buy just the headset, just the controllers, or just the base stations, the lighthouses, for $500 for the headset, $279 for the controllers, or $149 per base station. So
and Dale's going to buy none of them for $0.
$0.
Like immersion. Which I think he would totally like immersion once we get there. Like, Dale's going to be like, what? I can play WoW and Fortnite with a...
So I actually saw somebody play Minecraft within VR.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty interesting.
One of the things I'm excited for is they're dropping a lot of games that are really visually stunning into VR. So, I mean, you've got games like No Man's Sky, which was a flop when they first announced it, and then when they basically redesigned it for the big update last year, completely changed the game. So multiplayer with No Man's Sky, being able to use the controller as like a mining tool, because you have a mining gun in No Man's Sky. It's HD Minecraft basically, but
Fallout and Borderlands
are both.
Is that when you travel the universe?
No Man's Sky?
Yeah,
it is. So you can drive a spaceship too, which will be really cool with those index controllers, because you'll be able to, have a steering wheel. And they almost almost look like a steering wheel.
I'll just fly into space in real life.
Oh
yeah,
Dale's got it. Yep. So a couple other accessories. You get a face gasket for the Valve Index headset. Comes with a 2-pack. It's basically so if you want like Sweaty Josh or Sweaty Dru to not share sweat, you can swap out those face plates and change there. One of the things I'm concerned about with the valve index is it's got a rigid foam pad faceplate, so it might also allow that light infiltration around the nose area, which is
not with your forehead
around the nose.
Waiting
area.
all the time
around the nose area. But that's VR is really cool. I like it a lot. So, but
Dale doesn't like it. We could tell. Those of you guys that are watching our Facebook video, we're really sorry for Dale falling asleep over there. And no pictures of this. Maybe for Dale, we'll just have pictures put up instead. Not for like actual your pictures. Put pictures of the stuff we're talking about over your screen.
Oh, yeah. No. Definitely. Just add more stuff on the stuff I have to do.
Yeah, well, this is going to be a long episode for editing too, guys.
So we talked about the Marvel versus Star Wars movie numbers. Dale kind of put that up here. So
I was wrong. It was just wrong, guys. I mean, it's that easy. Dale doesn't like everyone not knowing it, but
I like everybody to know that Josh was wrong.
I was half. We could still have, The Rise of Skywalker make $6 billion, and then we'll probably be in the head there.
Yeah.
But, I doubt it.
But I didn't even include. I mean, look at.
Endgame's only going to do about 3.5 million. There's no way it's going to go over, or 3.5 billion. There's no way it's going over 3.5 billion.
Yeah. So
it could be the number one grossing movie, but it's already.
Yeah. So I did in the link below, guys, for everything. There is a link to the Sheets Google Doc we have, so you can look at this little chart I made up. It says the opening profits, adjusted profits for inflation, and then the lifetime gross. That's not adjusted for inflation, just because you really can't adjust for.
So is that the opening profits for? You're telling me that Endgame did 2.4 billion opening weekend?
No, Endgame did 357 million opening weekend. So,
no, sorry, but what is? So you got to be looking at domestic numbers, because didn't it hit 2 billion just in?
Yeah, so those are just domestic numbers.
Those have to be.
Could be. I used the boxsomething.com.
Well, there we go. Shit, sorry. There we go.
They have all the numbers. So,
well, next week we'll get the real numbers.
Yeah.
Where Josh wins. That's not true.
So I mean, this is because they did Endgame did 2 billion just in in world box office just in opening weekend. So
yeah.
Like these numbers have to be domestic, which is fine. It's still relative, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's not like Star Wars is bigger worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
So there's that information. Josh was wrong.
Yep. So just to give the numbers to people who are listening, total profit for the past 21 Marvel movies, not including Endgame, for adjusting for inflation. Well, I know it's only since 2008. About 2.8 billion is how much they made for profit in the opening weeks domestically for the 21 movies, not including Endgame. That goes up to 3.2 billion with Endgame. For Star Wars, this is including the first 8 movies, not including number 9, obviously. Adjusting for inflation, that is less than $1 billion, only 927 million, and that is adjusted for inflation. Episode 9 will probably make that go over $1 billion, but I don't believe it'll go higher than the 3.2.
Is the lifetime gross adjusted for inflation too?
It can't be adjusted for inflation because I don't know how much every year what it was.
Now, just doing some back of the envelope calculations here. Average per movie. So here's something that I did notice that is not included in this, and I might include it later. The first episode 1, episode 4, A New Hope, the first movie that ever came out, was only shown in 126 theaters across the United States, where the next one, Empire Strikes Back, was shown in 706. So just in that little bit of time, opening week only,
it went across the, was a phenomenon over those few years.
Yeah, 3 years.
But I am seeing that with 9 movies versus 22, about 50% there, which means price per movie, like gross profit per movie, both the franchises are almost equal. Like
no.
I mean, no.
What do you mean?
If 9 movies is half the gross, I guess that's not quite half. That's actually a little less than half. So let's say it's, I mean,
but lifetime gross profits can't. Those
I'm not looking at lifetime. I'm looking at 9 to 2.8.
That's the
1/3.
I understand what you're saying, Josh.
What I'm trying to say is what's the average per movie basis, and I would say they're a lot closer there too. But I mean, that's like if Star Wars were to have 22 movies out, who would win at that point in time?
Are you saying in between if they had the same amount of movies?
Yeah.
I still think Marvel would win. Based on, if I was to interpolate what it would be, I still think Marvel would win.
I think so too, but
again, it's close.
Yeah.
Both are beloved fiction.
Can you just look up the domestic or the worldwide for?
I mean, we're an hour and a half in. We probably shouldn't.
Who cares? You guys having fun? Are you guys having fun?
Dale wasn't earlier.
Dale wasn't earlier because it's VR. Now Dale's doing his thing.
Okay, so you want to look up Endgame?
I want you to look up worldwide for let's see, Return of the Jedi. The top 3 movies in Star Wars. So The Last Jedi.
Well, that's going to take me a minute.
That would take a while.
Yeah. Opening week, international.
I mean, that's literally just the last 3 movies.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of these are hard to. Yeah, I don't know if I can find that real quick. Sorry.
That's fine. I was just gonna see if they had a high world, like a X time multiple kit of their domestic. Because if they have a higher, like
what was the first movie you said?
Just do like Return of the Jedi. It's the third movie in the first franchise. It's the highest grossing.
Yep. So domestic is, what do I put down for domestic?
23 million.
23 million
for opening weekend.
Lifetime gross, I put it was a 309.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 65% of it. So worldwide was 400 and thing. So I can only give you domestic for the opening weekend. It's not giving me international opening weekend.
So that was the other thing I was going to say too. With with China being allowed to have these movies in Chinese theaters, like it is the second largest. Like it can almost double all of these modern movies. So you take the domestic box office and then pretty much double it, and that's where you get, once we start talking global, that's just with China alone, because China is the second largest watcher of movies.
Yeah, with this one, it's not letting me break it down into what countries saw how much for what. It's just saying how much it's made gross to date. Yeah, it's really weird how it's. I can break it up even more into like regions, but it's not what we want. So
that's fine.
Just because it's such an older movie too that those numbers probably weren't even recorded.
Yeah. So let's jump into the Endgame spoiler. It's a big deal. We might even
spoiler.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we want to all just go see it again and then come back and spoil it on a separate episode?
I honestly agree that we should make a large portion of it for an episode because I've only seen it once. I would like to see it a second time, and it is.
Why don't we set aside some time and do a full hour of Endgames, talking about Endgame.
I like that.
All right, so look out
coming
for that.
Up next.
We'll do that later. Blind science. Dale, do you have a blind science question for Josh?
I do not.
I do.
Good.
I do.
I like Dale's blind.
What are midichlorians?
God damn it. They're microscopic organisms that
Just kidding.
live inside.
Yeah, give him the easy one.
Yeah.
Do you guys know there was astrophysics in taught at the Jedi Temple?
I assume there would be.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing.
All right, Josh, here is your blind science question. Who is the
Christian
first recorded scientist?
What?
Yep. Who is the first person ever to be given a scientist moniker? Not who like invented
Like a
science.
natural philosopher?
I would assume.
So I'm assuming it's Greek then. I'm gonna say, let's just say, not Simon's. Yeah, let's say Archimedes. I mean, I know it's not. There were plenty of. If you want to talk natural philosophy, like people who studied like the cosmos and stuff, and like the invention of the atom, is ancient Greek, so it was about 4,000 years before Archimedes. But I'm gonna say Archimedes.
I would say like Pelagus.
Plagus, the wise.
No,
Polybides?
no. I think it's like it's not Plato, but it's like Peleus or something.
I mean, it's an old Greek dude. I'm almost positive about this. So we're just gonna say when we're gonna say, what constitutes a scientific achievement? Because the guy who invented atoms threw himself into a volcano. So like, I wouldn't necessarily put him up here with one of the brightest minds.
So people that kill themselves aren't bright.
No, but like his science was so flawed, he thought he could survive in a volcano. So he threw himself in.
Gotcha.
Died.
Okay, Drew, what's the answer?
Well, that's, I guess, you guys took that way more meta than I just Googled who's the first scientist. Which only took you back to like 1834, which is not true, but
Okay.
Mulligan.
I think we need a better question for that too.
I think we do.
A lot of these are history questions we're giving Josh, and we need like a scientific question.
well, I mean, who is the first coined scientist was
What is the current pennies? What is the current penny made out of?
Zinc.
Percentages.
Oh, fuck you. Like 80% zinc, 15%, 5% copper, and the rest other metal.
Nope. Wrong.
No.
Fucking wrong, Josh.
It's zinc and copper and then other metal. Like that's
pretty much it. 80 or 96% zinc.
96%. Okay.
Yeah,
I know we just keep cutting more and more copper out of it as copper continues to overvalue.
It has been that way since
40 something.
Nope.
It was World War II, wasn't it?
1959.
Well, I mean, I guess,
World War
World War II, we took copper out of pennies.
In 1943, it was no longer a copper penny. It was actually a steel penny.
Yeah.
But there are, it was mostly copper up until 1958.
So this article that I picked up said that...
Why are we still asking me history questions?
No, listen. To find out who the very first scientist was, you must travel back in time even further. Go back to the Greeks. Way back to Thales of Miletus, who lived from...
Thales of Miletus. I do know that philosopher.
The many accounts Thales achieved much in both science and mathematics, yet he received no written record and may have been, like Homer, a great celebrated figure who received credit for many great achievements, but who may never have existed at all.
So a group of people.
Basically.
Let's say like Parmenides is another one that's like really old.
So Drew, what do you think? Did he get it?
I mean, he said old Greek dude, so I think that constitutes as getting it.
I don't want to even give him a point, but I don't want to take one away from him either.
How many old Greek dudes can you name that I literally went through and named old Greek dudes?
I'm not saying you were wrong. I'm saying that you weren't specific enough to, and there wasn't really an answer.
Wasn't an answer.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you should not get a point. I just don't think it should. I think it should just stay at 11.
We just need let's do that, because I mean, we need like a question that has like a written answer that we can be like, boom. I'll take the loss on Krillin. I'm not taking the loss on science here.
Just take the L, Dale.
Another Krillin owned count.
That's what I was thinking the whole time you said Krillin. I was like, he's gonna get owned. He's just gonna
he got it all back. He's down to 0 now.
How do you get it all back?
Because he banged Android 18. Is that what happens? That's literally what happens not necessarily in the show, but in Team 4-Star at the very end. Like that's where like she's like, "Oh my god, bed now." He's like, "Yes, ma'am," and then like
the Krillin own counts goes down.
Yeah, and then it keeps going down every single time they do it. But that's beside the point. So one of the things that I thought was really funny over the weekend. So Berkshire Hathaway was going on this weekend in Omaha, which is a big investors conference. Warren Buffett, Oracle of Omaha. And Warren Buffett was asked about Tesla selling insurance. So one of the things Tesla's trying to do globally is insure their own cars, because other companies aren't rating the cars correctly, and people are having real big problems when, you get so I actually watched, so I was really bragging about this for a long time. My car appreciated, and then they came out with a bunch of new cars, and now my car depreciated a lot more than
like every other car.
But my car appreciated at 2.5 years old. My car was appreciating, and then they came out with new things, and then now my car depreciated. So now I actually owe more on my car than what it's worth.
Your car's value is fluctuating.
So is all of America.
I know.
You're welcome to the club.
That wasn't necessarily a thing before, and also.
They didn't have enough
insurance companies were terrible at saying like, oh, well, since your car was bought at $150,000 and we can go online and it's still showing that the value is this, then therefore your car's not totaled at $120,000 in debt. So people were waiting, having to basically get Teslas completely repaired, taking 8 to 10 months to get their Tesla repaired. And they don't have a car. Meanwhile, they pay for a car payment on it and keep paying for insurance on it. So there was a lot of discrepancies with insurance companies and Tesla. So Tesla said, forget it. We're going to start our own insurance companies and we'll start to insure our own cars. Warren Buffett was like, hey, not a smart idea. I definitely don't recommend doing that because it's a lot harder than you think. And then Elon on Twitter was like, oh my God, I totally loved that Margaritaville song you made, like on Twitter. And that's Jimmy Buffett, not Warren Buffett. And Elon Musk knows that, but the fact that he's throwing shade at Warren Buffett is, like, to me, just hilarious. Like,
that's pretty funny.
Like, especially with all of Elon's Twitter drama going on, the fact that he's throwing shade at one of the richest men in the world with investment advice. Yeah, the SEC is going to have a heyday. I can already call it.
Why?
Because the SEC hates Elon Musk, and he's not allowed to tweet things that are about like business practices without approval from the board.
So did he tweet that he was going to start selling insurance?
Yeah, but I bet the board approved that tweet.
Yeah, but the tweet about Warren Buffett being Jimmy Buffett is not anything that has to do with investment.
Yeah, so that's why they didn't have to approve it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's one of those things where like the SEC
they don't have to approve like, oh, happy birthday to,
No, what I'm saying is, so did he announce via Twitter that he was going to start selling insurance?
No.
Okay.
He's not the president.
No, that's what I'm saying. So him tweeting about Warren Buffett has no influence on the company.
No.
Except for the fact that Elon's still...
Yeah, I'm just saying because the SEC takes his tweets even when they're not about business stuff and is like, this guy runs your company and like this is the reason why we can't have him tweeting business things. Because like within one sentence he'll tweet something businessy and then the next tweet it's like, cows are the most graceful of all sentient species on Earth. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I got my own tequilas coming out, which actually would technically be business, so we can't do that. But other science news.
Is Elon Musk the liberal Trump?
No. Elon Musk is...
just saying random shit on Twitter?
Crazy person. Oh, my God, yeah. Like, he literally switched places with someone on Twitter the other day, and like just let the guy tweet whatever he wanted out. And I'm just like, why?
Switch places?
Yeah, I forgot who it was.
Like they logged into each other's accounts?
Yeah, they were both tweeting things. Yeah, it's weird. But so in actual sciencey news, I thought this was really crazy. LIGO and Virgo are the two gravitational wave detectors. Well, LIGO is a set of two gravitational wave detectors in the United States. And then Virgo is a gravitational wave detector in Italy. They were offline for a couple months while they did repairs and updated software and updated hardware. These are some of the largest devices ever created by man. And they're used to detect tiny variations in space-time due to gravitational waves. And gravitational waves are caused by giant things happening, like giant masses moving in the world, and they only produce little tiny variations. So these things
detect those.
Yeah, these things are made to detect those. There's tons of really good videos on gravitational wave detectors. Veritasium has a really good one. But they turned them back on here. So it took 15 years for them to find the first one. And that was 2012, 2014, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember. It was a while ago. They found the very first one. Then they found a second one a couple years later. They turned it back on.
It's not history class that we're having.
They turned it back on in April, and they detected 5 gravitational waves. What they would assume they had categorized as 5. So literally one a week with that frequency. Now they know where to look. They know what to detect. They detected a few off of neutron stars, so not black holes. So the first ones were black holes smashing into each other. Now they're like, oh, well, let's see if neutron stars can generate them too, which are slightly smaller but also super massive.
I was like,
gravity.
Aren't neutron stars just the exact opposite of black holes?
I mean, no, they're black holes that they weren't heavy enough to collapse in on themselves.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I guess they're not the exact opposite.
That's what I mean.
Massive things in the universe.
But
Black hole's number 1, second neutron star. And to be a heavier neutron star would then make it a black hole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it's just down. We're going down masses. They are just giant, massive things.
Don't make me come over there and beat you.
Now they're able to tell that these neutron stars also produce gravitational waves, which is crazy because, at any given time on Earth, we are jumping through space-time. There's little waves passing through our bodies that literally move us through time at a frequency of once a week. Like, I just think that's insane. Like, it's crazy how.
Do you think somebody's like space jumping and way out there,
like a Time Lord just popping in and out?
Yeah.
I mean, these are very narrow focal points. Like, they have to be like, okay, it has to come from this one area.
Yeah. So he's like, shoot, gone, and then he comes back like a week later. Like
it's possible.
Like he's visiting this kid in a different galaxy.
Or there's someone just like fishing at the end of one of these detectors and like doesn't realize. He's like, what's this? Bing, and like flicks it every once in a while. And
every Saturday he goes down and whacks it as he walks by.
And it's in 3 separate locations too. So like it's actually 3 different people doing this unbeknownst to each other. They're just like bing and flicking it and not even knowing.
All right, well,
yeah.
That's gonna wrap it up for our show.
Thanks for sticking with us, guys. It's been a long one.
You won a prize.
Wasting away.
What's the prize, Dale?
You can go to teespring.com / hey everybody or / SexyNerdScience products.
What was that website again? Just one more time.
Teespring.com. Hey
Excellent.
everybody or Teespring.com SexyNerdScience products.
Nice. I was singing.
Wait, SexyNerdScience - products.
Oh my god!
You gotta have the hyphen in there, or people are gonna fuck it up, Dale.
Yeah,
I misspoke. Hey, guess what? Josh was wrong twice last week.
3 times if you count that.
So I'm gonna make it 11 out of 12 now. That's what's gonna happen.
I was doing a really good parody of Margaritaville. Wasting away in Podcastville. Get it? Because we're wasting away.
Did I sing a song earlier?
No, I don't know. Did you?
I can't remember if I sang a song earlier.
Let's listen to the recording.
And you made fun of my song. And I was going to make sure that I could make fun of your son.
Well, thanks for sticking around, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, everybody.
We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Sexy Nerd Science Season 5.
Make sure to like us and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Don't forget to check out our merch on Teespring and support us on Project Nerd Patreon at patreon.com/projectnerd.